We are in the home stretch of 2024, which means a ton of movies are coming out in these last 3 months of the year, but especially horror. This is just the sweet spot for horror. It's starting to become fall time. The leaves are changing. I mean, it's still like 100 degrees in most states, I feel like, but we're slowly getting there. But September is always the month where we get a lot of horror movie releases because this is when we're ramping up to spooky season. Like, season is changing, we're getting in the mood, and then we also get some holiday horrors, which I love. So I am very excited for the horror movies that are coming out in September. There's like over 20 or like 25 that are coming out, which is a lot, but that's a good problem to have. But I am watching every horror movie of 2024, so I just got to find the time to watch all of them. But some of these that I will go over on this list I have seen, so I'll give like a little quick if I liked them or if I didn't like them. But without further ado, let's get into it. Here are all the horror movies coming out in September of 2024. First up is The Well. This releases on video on demand September 3rd. A young art restorer who's played by Lauren Lavera travels to a small village to restore a medieval painting to its former glory after it's been ruined in a fire. And she puts her life in danger as she soon realizes that this painting is attached to a very evil curse. I actually had the opportunity to watch The Well early, and Lauren Lavera is just absolutely incredible in it, but the movie has some really dark, creepy parts that I absolutely love, just really good body horror and gory moments. Third act of the movie wasn't really my favorite, but I still definitely had fun with this one. Beetlejuice Beetlejuice, which hits theaters September 6th. This takes place 36 years after the events of the original Beetlejuice, and in this movie, the Dietz family returns home to the Winter River after Charles Dietz's unexpected death, and Lydia's life is turned upside down when her rebellious teenage daughter Astrid discovers the mysterious model of the town in the attic, and the portal to the afterlife is accidentally opened, releasing Beetlejuice. Early reviews have come in for this movie, and people are absolutely loving it, so I am very excited. The Front Room, which hits theaters September 6th, a young newly pregnant Belinda and her husband are forced to take responsibility for Belinda's estranged stepmother. However, their new guest is trying to sink her claws into their child, and Belinda's gotta draw a line somewhere. This is a religious horror and Brandy's return to horror after we saw her last in I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, which was 26 years ago. Curse of the Sin Eater, which hits video on demand September 6th. The movie tells the story of Rick, a poor construction worker who makes a deal with a dying business mogul to inherit his business empire and property worth billions. The deal is that once the man dies, Rick must eat a lavish meal of the dead man's corpse, and in doing so, he unwittingly inherits the many gruesome sins and crimes the billionaire committed in order to build this fortune. Rick's newfound wealth and lifestyle are soon interrupted by increasingly disturbing and dangerous visions of the billionaire's victims. And Rick comes to understand that his inheritance is not a blessing, but a terrifying curse that threatens his life, his loved ones, and his soul. The Demon Disorder, which hits Shudder September 6th, tells the story of Graham, Jake, and Philip Riley and their deceased father. Their paths collide when a family secret is discovered, leading their father's garage to become the site of revenge from beyond the grave. This is a debut feature film because Stephen Boyle is mostly known for his talents in the special effects world. He's worked on very well-known movies like Daybreakers and Predestination, but this seems like it's going to have a ton of body horror in it, so I'm super excited. Don't Turn Out the Lights, which hits video on demand September 6th. Reuniting for an unforgettable weekend, a group of high school friends takes a break from their separate lives at college to travel by RV to a music festival. Their exciting weekend plans quickly unravel as they find themselves fighting to survive each other and the unknown. I genuinely don't know what to think about this one because the director Andy Fickman isn't really known for horror. He's the same person that brought us She's the Man, Paul Blart Mall Cop 2, so I am intrigued by this genre switch up. Red Rooms, which hits video on demand September 6th, the high-profile case of a serial killer has gone to trial, and Kellyanne, a model, is very obsessed with this case. When reality blurs with her morbid fantasies, she goes down a very dark path to seek the final piece of the case's puzzle. This movie heavily leans into the discourse about today's society being very enamored with true crime, but definitely has its own unique spin on it. I saw this at a film festival and it absolutely blew me away. There is a scene in here that I literally had my jaw on the floor and I still think about because it's very shocking. Creeping Death, which releases on Screambox and Hoopla September 10th. While trying to enjoy a peaceful Halloween with his mom, Tim is paid a visit by his rambunctious, up-for-anything friends. And after he reluctantly lets them inside the house, he becomes intertwined with the circumstances of their Halloween prankings. I love movies that feel super Halloween-y because honestly, we don't get a lot of horror movies that just ooze that Halloween feeling. So I'm curious what this will bring us. Booger, which comes out on video on demand September 13th. After the death of her best friend Izzy, Anna focuses all her attention on Booger, the stray cat that she and her friend Izzy took in. But when Booger bites her, she begins to undergo a very strange transformation. This is another directorial debut, but most of Mary Dotterman's shorts are in the horror genre, so I feel like this is going to be promising. Hereafter, which comes out on video on demand September 13th, Claire is overjoyed when her teen daughter is revived after what could have been a fatal accident. But when her daughter starts displaying increasingly disturbing behaviors after this near-death experience, she becomes convinced her daughter brought something evil back from the other side. Speak No Evil, which hits theaters September 13th, when an American family is invited to spend the weekend at the idyllic country estate of a charming British family they befriended on vacation, what begins as a dream holiday soon warps into a snarled psychological nightmare. Many people are finding this adaptation very unusual since Speak No Evil from 2022 just came out not that long ago. It is a Dutch film, but it's in English. However, I heard some early reviews back from Speak No Evil and people are absolutely raving about it, so I don't know, maybe it's going to be a hit. Hauntology, which hits video on demand September 17th, an older sister takes her fearless runaway sibling on a road trip to share the most chilling tales surrounding their hometown. This is an anthology horror, which we really don't get a lot of these days, but I really haven't heard anything about this, like no buzz around it. It's really not on a lot of upcoming horror movie lists, so I'm hoping that it won't let me down because I do love a good anthology horror. Voice of Shadows, which hits video on demand September 17th. The film follows Gabriel, a devout Catholic, and his girlfriend Emma as they embark on what seems to be a peaceful getaway to a secluded country estate that Emma is set to inherit. However, it's quickly revealed that the estate holds dark secrets, and what initially appears to be a serene retreat soon spirals into a harrowing ordeal. Emma is forced to adhere to a set of increasingly bizarre and unsettling rules, each one pulling her deeper and deeper into the sinister history of the estate. The Shade, which is set to hit theaters and video on demand September 20th. This follows 20-year-old Ryan Beckham, who's in the aftermath of the tragic loss of his father. Ryan lives at home with his mom and spends his days apprenticing at a local tattoo shop and looking after his younger brother James. But the grieving college student struggles to hold his family together as an unspeakable darkness plagues his older brother Jason, a college athlete who has unexpectedly returned home mid-semester. When a mysterious entity begins stalking Ryan, he is forced to confront the dark presence before it destroys what remains of his family. The Substance, which hits theaters September 20th. Elizabeth Sparkle, the star of an aerobics show, is fired on her 50th birthday by her boss because of her age. When she returns home, her morale is at its lowest, but she receives an unexpected proposal. A mysterious laboratory offers her a miraculous substance, and if she injects it, she will become the best version of herself, younger, more beautiful, and more perfect. The director Corley Farja also brought us Revenge, so she's familiar with the horror genre, but this got an 11-minute standing ovation at Cannes, which is absolutely incredible. Bagman, which hits theaters September 20th. For centuries across cultures, parents have warned their children of the legendary Bagman, who snatches innocent children and stuffs them into his vile, rotting bag, never to be seen again. Patrick narrowly escaped such an encounter as a boy, which left him with lasting scars throughout his adulthood. Now, Patrick's childhood tormentor has returned, threatening the safety of his wife and son. Lord of the Wolves, which hits video on demand September 20th. When his housemate dies under mysterious circumstances, Nick Cross inherits a mysterious pyramid-shaped contraption left at the scene, unwittingly summoning a cult of wolf people who dwell in the dark underbelly of London. I don't know about this one. I am not big on werewolf movies, and this one seems like it has a very restricted budget, but we'll see what it gives us. Last Straw, which hits video on demand September 20th. A small town killing spree lands on the doorstep of a rural diner, where a young waitress must fight for her life over the course of one long night. Bloody Disgusting described this as a rage-fueled home invasion horror with a twist, and I love single-location horror, so I am all in for this one. Never Let Go, which hits theaters September 20th. When an unspeakable evil takes over the world, the only protection for a mother and her twin sons is their house and their strong bond. Needing to stay connected at all times, even tethering themselves with ropes, they must cling to one another and never let go. However, when one of the boys questions if the evil is real, the ties that bind them together are severed, triggering a terrifying fight for survival. This is brought to us by the incredible director Alexander Aja, who also brought us High Tension, Crawl, The Hills Have Eyes, just absolute bangers, so I expect that this one is going to be fantastic. Succubus, which hits video on demand September 24th, is about a new father going through a marital separation, and he joins a dating app and matches with a beautiful but mysterious young woman. And her powers of seduction and manipulation entangle him in a mystery more horrifying than he could have ever imagined. Beezel, which hits video on demand September 24th. Over 6 tumultuous decades, 3 unwitting guests of a cursed New England home stumble upon a sinister secret dwelling beneath its floors, an eternal witch with an insatiable thirst for the souls of the living. This is another one I really haven't heard much buzz around. It hasn't even popped up on a lot of upcoming horror movie lists, so this one seems like it might be an underrated gem. Abruptio, which hits limited theaters September 27th. Les Hackle is a guy down on his luck who wakes to find an explosive device has been implanted in his neck. He must carry out heinous crimes in order to stay alive while trying to identify the mastermind manipulating the now twisted and strange world around him. This is used entirely with lifelike puppets, and it looks just so creepy and weird. It's gotten some really good reviews back from early screenings, so I think this one is going to be pretty wild. Azrael, which hits theaters September 27th. In a world where no one speaks, a devout female hunts down a young woman who has escaped her imprisonment. Recaptured by its ruthless leaders, Azrael is due to be sacrificed to pacify an ancient evil deep within the surrounding wilderness. Samara Weaving is back as a Scream Queen. This one was actually my favorite movie at Overlook Film Festival back in April, and it's probably my favorite horror movie of the year so far. It's just absolutely fantastic. Sleep, which hits video on demand September 27th. A young expectant wife must figure out how to stop her husband's nightmarish sleepwalking habits before he harms himself or his family. This is another one that I saw at a film festival early this year. It's so captivating. It's very eerie, has really good jump scares, and it just keeps you on your toes, just thinking like, is this a supernatural? Is it psychological? Are the partners just crazy? It's definitely a must watch. And lastly, Apartment 7A, which hits Paramount Plus September 27th. When a struggling young dancer suffers a devastating injury, she finds herself drawn in by dark forces when a peculiar, well-connected older couple promises her a shot at fame. This will be a prequel to Rosemary's Baby, and it's starring Julia Garner, who can do no wrong in my eyes, so I think this one will be a really good one. This is one that I get to see at Fantastic Fest, so I am excited to be able to see it early. We made it. Those are all the horror movies coming out September of 2024. Join me in the comments. Let me know which ones you are most excited to watch. There are some on here that I can't even contain my excitement for being able to watch them. Some of these I will be able to watch at the Fantastic Film Festival that I will be going to in a couple of weeks, which is an 8-day long movie festival. I've never gone to a movie festival that long. They've always been like, a longer weekend, maybe like 4 days. So 8 days, my eyes are going to melt out of my head, but like in the best way possible. We will be at the world premiere for Terrifier 3. So that's huge. And also, We get to see Mike Flanagan, and it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be so much fun. I cannot wait. Also, just recently posted a video about horror movies that I think would be really good video game adaptations. So if you want to check that out, that's there. I went like really in depth on these fake video games that I created in my head. So I had so much fun with that. But thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.